I saw the Broadway show, right?
Yes, number three.
I am that theater kid because obviously I was like, well, this might be my only chance to see Cheetah Rivera, so you know, let's go, let's do it. Everybody else is cute, and then I saw it with a friend with Vanessa Williams, who was also fabulous in it. But doing the research, I believe you are the first Latino to play him, and I'm like, all the slashes, and I'm going like, excuse you? What is happening? Right? But what I like is obviously, he's flamboyant, he's gay, but what I like that you did is while all of that is there, you made us see his humanity. Talk
Yeah.
about that. What was your entry into the character? Because there was the film with Raul Julia. Then your people, the Broadway heads are gonna be like, oh, she's gonna be singing these songs, and is it gonna be this, right? So how did you approach it and say, okay, this is my way into him?
Well, I mean, thank you for noticing that. I think as soon as I read the script, I realized that we had this very important and possible opportunity, and that it was to humanize a genderqueer individual, right? And I think that when we were shooting it, there was all this like anti-LGBTQ and even some like anti-Latino rhetoric that was going around, and so I was like, I really wanted to focus on the light behind their eyes. I wanted people to see their sense of humor, see their humanity. Um, because girl, our people have been through enough. I can't do Molina dirty like that. And so, but how I started, well, with Molina specifically, I mean, it was really just a matter of looking at my own life and my own relationship with my gender and my presentation over the years. And I think when you come from any kind of marginalized community, sometimes the narrative that we get given is you're not enough or there's something wrong with me. And I really wanted to tap into that and build something, all these defenses and masks around that root. And so that's where you get the sense of humor. That's where you get the intelligence. That's where you get like Molina's little things, but they're coming from a deep place of pain and unworthiness. And then to be seen and to have like Valentine love on him for the first time um, cracks open a world of possibility and a need and a desperation to not lose it. So it was really just like understanding that and naturally like in order to achieve that genderless expression, I lost 45 pounds in 50 days. I know, and it's not a commercial for Ozempic. I did it the old-fashioned way, anorexia. But but it was just temporary because I went down from 190 to 143 by the time that we were shooting Molina. The film that I had just on Carry On was an action film, so I got like beefed up for that, and then I wanted to lose that, but in losing the weight, I found like I was sensitive and like I felt like I didn't have the same, I didn't take up space in the same way. And people didn't respond to me in the same way. People didn't like treat me the same way. And so it was one of those like meta, things where all of a sudden, like the world informs you of who you are.
100%. I think you have a very close relationship with your mom. Your mom was so cute at that Celebration Latin Cinema, and I love that, right? But talk about, and same thing with Melina, but in our community, it is a conversation we're still having as Latinos, right? Where because there's Catholic guilt, there's Latin guilt. A lot of mothers take on the fact, oh my God, my son is gay. What did I do? I must have failed it somehow, right? Fathers are still having a hard time verbalizing that. And in this film, his mother is his safety net. It's the thing that is being held over his head because she's the only person until
Valentine.
this situation that loves him, right? And it's being held. Talk about that. What are you hoping? Because I'm looking at this and I'm going like, yeah, this is taking place and such, but I'm like, we still have these issues, community. We still are like coming out with the blame game, like there's something wrong, like you did something, right? I should have loved you more. Maybe we should have been tougher. Talk about that aspect of it that we're still dealing with as a community.
Well, I think with our film specifically, because I don't want to generalize
Yeah,
over
absolutely.
over everything, but with our film specifically, Molina, their mother. had this unconditional love for them. And if anything, they had this best friendship, right? I think you can't really show all of the historical things that happened between them, but like if you go into the apartment, we really made careful decisions about the fashion of it all and the flamboyancy of it. And I think that the mother kind of enjoys that and enjoys watching those movies with her son. They share in that like it together, right? And there's always just like a question about Molina's father, and there was a line in the script about it regarding like, oh, he died when I was young. What's the point? I think that there's so much more to unravel, but ultimately, like I think queerness is as natural as heterosexualness or heteronormativity, right? Like I just think it's like vanilla or chocolate, and you just your taste buds are just attuned to one or the other. And I also, the older that I've gotten and experienced more life, like I think that um binaries are inherently violent. They are, and we tell ourselves stories as to who we are and limit our understanding of who we are. But we are constantly pleasantly surprised by even our own actions or our own desires. And I think that as at least as a human, like if we can aim towards having less binary and more um, freedom for people to be and feel and express, then it creates a more tolerant society because then it's like, yeah, okay, well, as long as you're not being a shitty person and like, and you're happy, then great.
100%. And when we first come into the movie, one things that he's teaching them how to love, right? And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
always say they taught each other how to love
They love
because
differently.
and
Yeah.
I think whether it's out of survival, whether it is like needing to have that comfort in this god awful place, right? With all these things going on, hearing what's happening to the other prisoners. And I think that's the greatest gift this story gives, right? The love doesn't always come in the package and in a situation because we all have these manifestations. I
Yeah.
want my person to be look this way, and I want it to happen here, and I want to have my hallmark moment or whatever that is, right? And I know for me, definitely, I had this vision, and I end up marrying opposite, and end up being a blessing, right? So I think that's the lesson too here, that to understand that love may not always come in this idea, and that the person sometimes, when he walks into the they walk into the cell, so to say, they're like, oh God. And
Yeah.
he's like, oh God, right? And not realizing in this weird experiment, you're about to get your greatest blessing. Can you talk about that? Because I think that is the underlining thing of them being put together.
You know, it's so funny. There was a scene in the movie where we're arguing about what it means to be a man, like what the perfect man looks like. And we did one take, and it was just Molina has the more conservative thoughts. Molina is living in a gender norm like mentality of romance and love, while Valentine is like, no, there are queer people, and like, what is this machismo thing? You know what I mean? And so it's really funny because it's like it really is opposites attract. And I was sitting there and I looked at Diego and I just thought, are we Elphaba and Glinda? You know, like it felt like we were like the two roommates who were just complete opposites and constantly fighting. And but I do think that there's something, I think that oftentimes we get tied up to these definitions of who we are. And in the cell, in this authoritarian government, they were stripped of everything, their comforts, their family, their health, you know, and the masks that we put up fall away, and you actually are forced to see somebody else. And I think in that vulnerability comes the connection and comes the possibility of forming love. And I think that right now, where we're being fed this incredibly divisive culture of you're that and I'm this, like we actually share so much more in common than we think. And if we could just slow it down and be vulnerable and show each other our hearts, like I think that there's a possibility for growth there.
I agree. And last, but definitely not least, because I think we are going to be talking to you a lot this award circuit, knock on
Um,
wood. Um, what is the gift that Molina gave you? What's the one thing that surprised you, did you took away from this experience as an artist that you're like, okay, I'm going to put this right here. So when things get challenging in this business, as they do sometimes, you're like, okay, I'm going to reach into my little Rolodex and bring that out. What's the gift that they gave you?
You know, I think after COVID and how the industry came to a halt, and after the strikes, which were very difficult for a working class actor, um, the first gift that it gave me was creativity, and I was trusted with to carry a film, and I was given creative freedom to make the characters that I wanted to tell, and Bill and the rest of the production team really allowed me to have influence on the story and to bring my perspective and creativity to it. So that filled my creative cup. But the last few months since we've like shared the film, I've gotten to meet so many people from around the world who are grateful that our film exists, who message me daily on Instagram or TikTok, or send videos of themselves crying, or sharing to me that they feel seen, or that they're scared, that our film, that they had like put little walls around their heart because it's too hard to feel right now, and that our film reminded them that it's okay and that they're not alone. And I think I'm really proud of the fact that when Latinos are basically being snatched up off the street here in the States, and some queer people are being called terrorists for simply existing, our film is telling them that we love them and that
Well,
they
I
deserve Hollywood
I
treatment.
think that is beautiful. I hope you know the same way the Molina was transformed by going to the movies, sitting in that place, where we,
Yeah.
as Nicole Kidman says, where
We
we
come
all
to this
come
place of
together,
magic, baby.
right? I think you're doing this for a lot of people, not necessarily, and I think people of different backgrounds who've been walking with their head down, you're telling them through this
Yeah.
beautiful and moving performance that to no longer walk in shame, hold your head up, stand in your light, right? And I think that's the biggest and best gift that you can give people during these times that really need to kind of like be reaffirmed and remember that you matter. So I think, I hope you feel that, as we're sitting there in the dark, and you did an amazing job, and I just wish you nothing but success, bendiciones, bendiciones, and
Gracias, hermana.
everything great. Thank you so much, and it's been an
Thank
absolute
you.
pleasure.
That's it.